Let's talk cancel pigs, shall we? So this is you touched on it a little bit when you were you mentioned it with Tim. So the best way to describe this was a comic book shop owner went out and he did a video and he addressed some of the base level concerns about what is going wrong in the comic book industry, and I'm talking like base level. Let's watch the first 50 seconds of this video. It's Glenn O'Leary is his name, and the backlash he got for this was insane. And
he's not even a talking head. He's just the owner of a comic book store.
And he's done it for like almost 3 decades, if I'm not mistaken.
Again, humility would allow you to realize that you should pay attention to someone like this who has this much experience. But let's go ahead and watch just the first 50 seconds of this video so you can see what we're talking about here.
Most of these new writers don't have the love of comics like these older writers had. And all they care about is, how can I put myself in the book? No, we don't care what you would do if you were Iron Man. We don't care who you are. You're writing Tony Stark. You're not writing yourself in a book. If that's the case, write your own comic with you in it. No one will read it because nobody cares. People grew up, are growing up loving Peter Parker, loving Miles Morales, loving all these Captain America. We don't need you to put your input in it. Just write Steve Rogers. Don't write Steve Rogers. What would Steve Rogers be if I was Steve Rogers? That's not how it works. But that's again how most of these new people write nowadays. That's why most of the stuff is shit. Because we don't.
He's right.
He's
apparently right.
Factual statement.
Every single thing he said is right there.
So the cancel pigs were mobilized in response to this video, as I understand it, and just started railing against this guy for his looks.
So one of the things that I was telling you before the show, I said, so I paid very close attention to the comic book industry as this all started in 2017, 2018, and nowadays, these days, I don't have the time that I used to. But coming back to this story and seeing how this happened, it actually just kind of filled me with a lot of sadness to see that things really haven't changed.
It's the same thing, man. It's catty. It's weird. And yeah, so you had that. Shout out Mark Miller. He is one of the few guys in comics that can call his own shot. He went to bat for him, even went to talk with Glenn O'Leary. Look, he's just echoing the same sentiments that many of us have been echoing for a very long time. And he's the one that's front line. There's a lot of delusional comic book shops owners out there that are keeping up with the charade. Glenn was one that just spoke facts. It's like, dude, it's obvious. You guys are using these characters as a vehicle, as we spoke about in the last segment, excuse me, to portray your individual views. That's all this has ever been, and people don't want that. You know, the great Chuck Dixon, when he wrote Alpha Core, I remember us sitting down and having a meeting, and he wanted to get to understand these characters. He wanted to understand who it was. It wasn't, I'm Chuck Dixon. I want to be, I need to write myself into Brian Solera. That's not how it is that he operates. He's like, he's a professional. So he's like, who are these characters? And I will write a believable story in which the characters are true to the vision it is that I had as the creator of them. That conversation doesn't seem like it's being had with any editor and as well as a creator that's writing any of these stories. But that's the culture of comic books right now, that these people get so aggravated, they get so angry at someone just talking about their own experience. He's not necessarily, it's not, yeah, some of it's political, other times it's not, it's more social, whatever it is that you want to say it. But the point is that what he's saying is true. And instead of accepting the truth, these people will rather go around trying to demonize someone for daring to speak what is a factual statement, right? That's all this is. And you can see what's going on with Mark Miller right now, who they really got mad at him when he said good things about Isom. They got really mad about Mark Miller. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like anything that is opposite of what the mainstream is doing and not kissing the ass of it, you're going to be seen as an enemy. And I've told folks this may be a little daunting for some folks, but you need to be prepared for that. These folks will try to ruin your life in the event that you stand up and be opposite of them. They're going to treat you like you're the absolute enemy. You could be the nicest person in the world. Nobody's had anything negative to say about Mark Miller for this long. And now all of a sudden, now that he's a little more public with and being honest about the industry, well, he's a white supremacist, he's this, he's all that, and it's all these negative things. That's how they treat people that go against the grain.
And they make it impossible for people to stand up because they make it too much of a burden on you. Like, do you think he knew when he showed support for Isom did he understand what was about to happen?
No, he had no idea.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane that you have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's unfortunate because then I got to add a conversation like, hey man, look man, I appreciate you saying those good things about it, you know, but this is unfortunately what we're dealing with. And to Mark's credit, he could take it on the chin. He's one of the few guys that can call his shots. I actually got offended on his behalf when people were like, oh well, you paid Mark Miller to say those good things about ISOM, and I'm like, might be the only guy that's richer than I am outside of maybe Todd McFarlane that's doing comics.
I think they said his Netflix deal was 30 to 50 million.
That's what I'm saying. Like he can call it like, yeah, I'm a millionaire, but not like that. You know what I mean? Like that's dealing with another set of circumstances over there. I'm not anything near that, but that's how they treat folks that go against the grain. So he's dealing with that. Glenn's dealing with that right now. The same thing I'm dealing with, and the same that many other people that are in the independent space that have walked away from the industry, like the Graham Nolans of the world or Mike Barron, as we mentioned before. Anybody that is doing their own thing and is acknowledging and being honest about what the comic book industry and the state that it is in right now is going to be seen as an enemy, and they're nasty, man. These are ugly people.
It's insane to imagine that something like that could cost you your livelihood. Or, I mean, who was the creator? Was it Jay Lee who was he was on vacation and they started attacking him?
Tom King, yeah, because he did a.
It wasn't even one of these people. It was a fellow industry professional.
Yeah, it was. He did a cover for Ethan Van Sciver, and that was, I mean, an absolute no for the industry for him. So you had guys like that asshole Tom King, that's his name, was going after him. You're aligning yourself with CG, this, that, and they got all pissy mad at him. And I shout out to Jay Lee because he came out and it was like, this shit ain't funny. Like, y'all are going around basically trying to ruin people's lives. This stuff is not funny, man. They're painting you, and the ugly things it is that they're going to say that you're associated with. Just because you worked with someone, you took a commission from someone, like what? That's how stupid this is. The guy just took a gig and they jumped down his throat because of it.
They also, remember what I said earlier, they go too far. Who was it we were just talking about? It was like Martin Freeman. They're like, Martin Freeman is a wife beater. But then they list one thing and then they list like 10
there was
more
this
things.
video of Martin Freeman that people got mad at because he made a joke about date raping an elf. I'm not kidding.
From the Hobbit.
And they said,
the Hobbit promotional.
a reminder that Martin Freeman is a racist, misogynistic homophobe, a rape apologist, a classic Islamophobe who hits his children, and yet he's still employed.
Okay, so like you say the one thing, and then they add like four more things on top of it. I'm like, I don't.
Well, then that's why
all those things.
They ended up walking away with their pigtail between their legs.
Maybe he's a racist. Maybe he's a sexist. He's probably like, you're not nine.
It's all the same thing. Yeah. It doesn't matter what it is that you are. It can be on an individual issue. That's what they did with Mark. Now Mark's all of a sudden racist. He's a transphobe. He's all these other things.
I like the idea. He's like, look, I'm not a racist. I'm a sexist, but I'm not a racist. Like, he's like, I wouldn't go that far, right? Like, they make you 9 things. And
that's what this all this cancellation BS. That's what it became, right? It's that. You know, they found all these evil things, and this is why, unfortunately, none of these terms mean anything Nazi. And then if they can't call you a Nazi, they'll say you're a sympathizer or you're adjacent, which is a chicken shit, chicken shit way to say, I can't really call you that, but I want to say that you're aligned with it in some sort of way. And they're just on autopilot. This is why I know people understand I'm a little rough around the edges, and I don't have any problem, calling these people for what it is that they are. But I think that's a necessary response because you need to understand what the intention is of these pieces of shit. What they're trying to do is ruin people's lives. Like, that's not funny. Like, to me, that isn't even all of a what? Because I had a different opinion on a comic book character or something like that. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like that's the. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we arguing about here?
This is a symptom of the subject matter becoming self-inserts, because back in the day, people would go to comic shops and they would argue over comics all the time.
Well, that was what we did. It was all of those stupid shit was what comic book fandom was about.
You're supposed to argue about whether, I like you guys were talking about Slade Wilson, about Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson.
Yeah.
And funny because they were created, I think Deadpool was first and then Slade. But the point is, there's a famous video that somebody made. It was like an animation about who would win in a fight, Deadpool or Deathstroke, and that's what it should be. It should be that type of arguing, not arguing about whether this character that you like or don't like is a sign as to whether you believe in white supremacy or not, which is inherently ridiculous and stupid. If you can't say it out loud without laughing, it's probably not a real argument.
No, it's retardation. Let's call it what it is. But that's what the comic book industry used to be about. So this is what gets me when someone dares to have like an opposing opinion about a storyline or whatever's happening. The first thing that these people do is go label them as these evil things. And I'm like, dude, we used to argue about dumb shit in comics. Who's more powerful than this versus this versus that. That's what that's what it used to be about. However, what didn't happen is that we'd say that, hey, you'd say this character was better or that this character was negative in your eyes or whatever it may be. We didn't ultimately say, well, you're racist.
Yeah.
Right? That wasn't the conclusion that it was. It was just, no, we're going to sit and argue for the next 45 minutes about why this character is better, why Batman will want to fight against Captain America or whatever it is. Not, oh, well, you must be a racist because you don't like Miles Morales. Like, what type of dumb shit it is that we're arguing about, but that's what it's become. I just don't like the fact that it's been weaponized so much. That's what frustrates me so much, is that these people know exactly what it is that they are doing when they try to associate you with white supremacy or homophobia or whatever buzz term it is. The intention is, and let's be very, very clear, and I want them to stand by it, is to ruin your life. Like, that's their intention.
Because the headlines that come out now, whenever somebody looks up your name, it's going to be right next to those words.
Yes.
Right? There's going to be tweets talking about you that have those words in it, and they won't tag you in it because they end up Xing out parts of your name. They Voldemort you, which they do with a lot of these people. And the fact that nothing has changed, or at least, I guess you could say something has changed, right? Because this backfired badly on them right now. So what we're seeing right now is a little bit of that backfiring because they went to do the thing that they normally do when somebody says something they disagree with, and the public response was very much the opposite of that, and that's encouraging.
Well, because these people deserve to be shamed.
Yes.
Agreed.
And like now they're using AI art.
Oh yes, let's
shame them.
We can look at some of these images here. We've got a bunch of pictures of cancel pigs here. This one here,
the keyboard warrior pig.
Yes, I like keyboard warrior pig. I like the coat on keyboard warrior pig. It's good. It's good.
They get worse though.
They do? Yes. Okay, let's look at this one next. Oh my goodness.
That's about how they look. Same color hair.
Yep.
Glasses. Same.
It's an affront to my glasses, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
Oh, this Pixar meme. I would see it.
What does what does the SW stand for down there? I need to know.
Well, you said you think that this is based on somebody. Like in real life.
Like Renfamous, right? Like,
that's about how she looks. She's going after me too.
This one?
Yellow Flash is selling merch with this one on it.
Shout out to Yellow Flash.
There you go. And this one? I like it.
No.
I like it.
It's accurate.
It's very AI because there's like the text doesn't mean anything in the background, which
right, but it's also like none of what they tweet means anything.
Yeah.
So
they said it means Star Wars. Somebody said the SW means Star Wars. It could have. I'm not sure, but let's do one more.
The pink-haired one is my favorite.
This one is great. It's even got the high fade.
He's marching with Antifa.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.